I like motherboards that have a straightforward and rather simple build. Well, the GA-B450M-DS3H from Gigabyte is one such motherboard. Right off the bat, we can see that the V-core faces have a small heatsink on top of them, while the SoC faces are naked. This worked fine for the A310 grenade from MSI, so I have no doubt that it will work just fine here as well. Taking the heatsink off reveals the topology used for the power phases. The 4-core phases are a slight downgrade from the grenade since they use only one MOSFET for the high side and two for the low side. The two SoC phases use the two high side MOSFETs and two low side MOSFETs topology. Now, while using two high side MOSFETs would be better, the one high, two low topology is quite common, and when cooled with a heatsink, it can be very sturdy. The board comes with 4 memory slots for a maximum capacity of 64 GB, and this is a Gigabyte board, so you know that you'll get them in the clips at both ends variety. This should be the norm, but Asus and derivatives think otherwise, so good job Gigabyte. The 1x PCIe slot right below the 16x one rubs me the wrong way, but this should not surprise you if you watch the review for the A320M-H, also from Gigabyte. It is too close to the top 16x slot, and just like with the previously mentioned motherboard, a 2 slots GPU will make that unusable. Thankfully, there is another slot located even lower, and while mechanically 16x, only the first 4 lanes are connected. And since these lanes go to the B450 chipset, they run at PCIe Gen 2 speeds. The M.2 slot allows placing drives up to 110mm in length and is connected straight to the CPU. Very little to add here, so let's move on to the next somewhat painful point about this board. You see, the placement for the 3rd and 4th SATA port is just as problematic as for the A320M-H. And I'm using a clip from that video to illustrate why that is, and as you can see, the GPU will make the top 2 SATA ports unusable. Almost all pin headers are placed on the lower side of the board, so let's quickly run through them. We start off with the front audio header and the SPD for optical output. We then have the TPM header, where besides the TPM device you can also place a postcode analyzer using the LPC interface available here. Next is the COM serial port. Next to it, its more evolved cousins in the shape of two USB 2.0 headers and the USB 3 pin header. Last one on this side would be the front panel headers, including here also the PC speaker output, and right above it the clear CMOS pins. You also have 2 fan headers, one for the CPU, one for the system fan, and surprise surprise, an RGB header placed next to the system fan. The rear I/O is bland, sure, usable, yes, nothing to write home about. The PS2 combo port, the round half green half purple circle thingy, is probably going to remain virgin, while the 2 USB ports above will end up being used for your keyboard and mouse. We then have the DVI-D, as in digital only, and HDMI video outputs, 4 USB 3 ports Type A, then your Gigabit LAN RJ45 and 2 more USB 2 ports, again Type A. As for the classic 3-jack audio, well, the audio output is fine, but the microphone input suffers from the same lack of sensitivity as we found on the A320M-H. Have a listen. Closed back headphones are recommended, I guess. This is for the GA-B450M-DS3H from Gigabyte. Rear audio, volume 100%, preamp. The BIOS has 2 modes, where the easy mode allows you to access some of the more frequently changed settings, like XMP profiles and fan curves. The advanced mode, however, opens up quite a few more options, and the ability to change the CPU frequency multiplier is one of them. This will allow you to overclock your CPU, and much to Gigabyte's credit, this was also available on its A320M-H board. More important for me, however, is the ability to undervolt the CPU, and we have that option available. I always try a 100 mV undervolt, it reduces power and increases the longevity of the CPU. Changing the XMP profiles can be done either from the main page in easy mode, or in the advanced frequency settings under MIT in normal mode. But besides the XMP profile, one can also configure the memory manually, from DRAM frequency to individual subtimings. Gigabyte will allow you to get yourself into trouble. Typically, now let's start talking about TPM and rebar settings. And while the TPM options are easy to find, rebar, well, the only thing related to it that I could find was the above 4G decoding, and I'm running the F64 BIOS, which is quite recent. One feature that Gigabyte consistently gets right is detecting DC-based fans when the fan type is being set to auto. Not everybody gets it right, and as a result, a 3-pin fan plugged in would run at full speed until the customer remembers to set the fan type to DC. Speaking of fans, the board allows specifying one from a few predefined fan curves, but more importantly, it also allows you to change the fan curve when selecting manual for the fan curve type. Now, the spicy BIOS option here is the RGB Fusion, which is available here, albeit in a trimmed down fashion, allowing to specify the behavior of the motherboard LEDs, but also the color of the RGB strip connected to the RGB header mentioned earlier. The VRM on this board is fine, and a tiny heatsink on the core phase MOSFETs is enough to not restrict the user to downdraft CPU coolers only. But despite what Gigabyte insinuates on its webpage, I would not use it for more than a stock clocked Ryzen 7. The memory slots with clips at both ends are nice, and I don't plan to use more than 2 SATA drives anyway. It's a not great, not terrible middle ground type of a board. But if you don't record audio, or you already have a cheap USB sound card or USB microphone, then this board can be a pretty good option, for the right price. $40 seems to be the average price these things are going for, but I also have seen people asking $60 for one. Don't buy it at this price though. Obviously, there are some better boards out there than the DS3H, and then there are some worse boards, and we'll get to see samples of both types in the future. As for this one, we're done. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked it, and I'll see you for the next one.